Good evening, Facebook Live. Apostle Terrence Lyons of Ecclesia Ministries here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Coming to you again on tonight, bringing you a Bible study. Pray that everyone has been safe from all of the different weather that's transpired in different spots. Just, excuse me, thankful to have made it through. We pray that all of our people who are in states that were being impacted, that are connected to Exclusive Ecclesia and Ecclesia of Murfreesboro, we pray that everything has been a blessing for you and that you've been kept safe in the midst of all of that. So, coming to you tonight, and definitely want to cover some ground on some stuff tonight that I think is going to be very eye-opening to help keep some major things going for you. Hopefully you saw the question. Get everything set up here. Hopefully you saw the question that was, can you build in the dark? Can you build in the dark? Because one of the things that I want to make sure that you do have the capability of doing is making sure that you can function in conditions that not really always conducive. So, say good evening to Pastor April and Prophetess Tanisha, and Sia Melissa, it's Veronica. Glad for everybody to be on tonight because we fixing to be on to something good. One of the things that I hope you've been understanding is that a lot of what you're seeing around you is seasonal. It's also consequential, and the reason that I need for you to understand that it's seasonal and it's consequential, it is because everything that we've got transpiring right now, good evening there, Prophet LL, everything that we've got transpiring right now, it's got a lot of people mixed up. It's got a lot of people in darkness, literally and figuratively. There's, down in New Orleans, there's many things that are going on with people not being able to have electricity. They don't have water. They don't have a lot of those things, and it's some dark times. And then there may be some that experience tornadoes up north. They experienced a lot of flooding up north, and they're not accustomed to that. They're used to snow. They're built for different things. So the reason that I want to kind of touch on those things before I dig into what we're covering tonight is because how you manage your darkness is either going to strengthen your character or weaken your character. It's either going to strengthen your character or it's going to weaken your character. And that's why we've got to understand the question, can you build in the dark? And if you can, what are you building in the dark? Because see, there's some people, when they hit darkness, they just shut down. They freeze. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to manage anything. They don't know how to restructure anything. They just shut down. It's nothing against them. Because if you haven't been taught how to build in the dark, if you haven't been taught how to function in dark circumstances, that's the natural reaction, to shut down, to freeze up. We're going to break that. I'm going to help you know how to get beyond it, but we've got to make sure that we're facing it, make sure that we're acknowledging that some people struggle with building in the dark. So I want to start out in the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 27. Matthew chapter 10, verse 27, because one of the first things that you got to understand is that darkness will help strengthen, watch this, the other senses that don't work in the dark. Darkness will help strengthen the other senses that don't work in the dark. And the reason that I need for you to understand this, it is because everything goes through a level of development when it gets dark. Everything, including your sight. You're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I ain't, what do you mean including my sight? Watch this. I want you to understand something. In verse 27, he says this. He says, what I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light. And what ye hear in the ear, preach ye upon the housetops. So watch this, because what I need for you to get is there's an element, watch this, that is expected to be working when it's dark. And that element that is expected to be working is your hearing. See, when it gets dark, you need to focus on hearing, not seeing. Because it's dark, you can't see. So, in that process, what you want to make sure of is that you as an individual, once it gets dark, once you realize that I can't see, stop. You can't figure it out. You don't know what's going on. Just stop. Freeze. Don't keep trying to move. You're going to stump your toe. You're going to trip over something. You're going to hit your leg on something. You don't want to hit your pinky toe. Lord Jesus, don't hit your pinky toe. Just don't do it. So just freeze. See, because, and like I said, a lot of people think that they can see in the dark, but I'm going to help you understand what they're doing later. But I need for you to understand this. You can't see in the dark, but what does heighten in the dark is this right here. Let everything black out. Let everything, all the electricity go out, and then all of a sudden, what was that? What was that? I ain't ever heard that noise before. All of a sudden, that hearing heightens. And the reason that I need for you to understand how this works is because it's about to get real dark for a bunch of folk. Yeah, it's about to get real dark because they're not going to be able to understand what they're feeling, what they're seeing. They're not going to be able to understand any of that. And that's where this right here needs to step it up a notch. See, watch this. He says, what I tell you in darkness. He's saying, when it gets dark, I don't want you so focused on the dark that you can't hear. Once it gets dark, I don't want you so focused on the darkness that you can't hear me. See, so what Jesus is saying here, because if you got a red letter edition Bible, it's written in red. What he's saying is, I'm going to talk to you when it gets dark. I'm trying to act right. It's probably not going to happen the rest of the time. I'm trying to talk to you when it gets dark. When it's not going like you're used to seeing it, I'm trying to talk to you. I'm trying to get some information to you. When it's not going like it usually goes, and all of a sudden everything freezes, everything stops, I'm trying to talk to you during that time. So I just need for you to, I need for you to watch this, freeze your mind like your sight's frozen because you can't see because it's dark. It's not going like it normally goes. See, I'm gonna help you with a personal thing that's going on with me, and my sister and my family. My mother being in the hospital, she's not functioning like she normally functions. So that's dark to us because we ain't seen that happen to her. So when that begins to take place, gotta heighten your hearing. You gotta heighten that. See, because it's at that point that you have to make a decision to say, okay, what am I going to walk by in this darkness? What am I going to function by? Because I can't see things like I normally used to see them because, watch this, the environment ain't like it normally was. The environment's different now. There's darkness. So now I got to understand something. See, you cannot build by sight in the dark. It can't happen. You can't build by sight in the dark. It's not going to work. You're going to have some crooked stuff. You know, you're going to have some messed up stuff. See, because if you try to build by sight in the dark, you're not going to have proper alignment. Woo! You're not going to have proper alignment of all of your materials that you're trying to fasten together. See, that's why sometimes people are discombobulated in certain situations because they can't get their spirit and their soul and their mind and their emotions. They can't get it all under control. They can't get it all under control. So since they can't get it all under control, that begins to cause a problem with what they're building. So this is what I need for you to get. I want you to understand something. To build in the dark, this one, oof, oof. To build in the dark, you have to either build by memory or by vision, because you can't see. To build in the dark, you have to either build by memory or by vision, because you can't see. It's not going to happen. Proverbs 29 and 18 is the next scripture that I want you to see. This is one of my most favorite scriptures. I've known it for many years because what it sets up for you to do. In Proverbs 29 and 18 is where it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But happy is he that keepeth the law. Now, the reason that I need for you to understand this, watch this. I'm gonna go to Proverbs 29 and 18 because I want to walk you through each piece there to help you understand how to build in the dark. Because when you understand that what it's trying to tell you is actually something that's going to help you deal with dark situations. I'm about to mess with you. I'm trying to act right the best I can because In Proverbs 29 and 18, again, it says, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. The reason I need you to understand that is because, again, a lot of people think, now watch what I'm fixing to tell you, a lot of people think that they can build by sight in the dark because they can go home, watch this, go in the house, lights ain't got to be on, and you can navigate all the way through your house and not stump your toe on some stuff. So you think you can build in the dark because you can do that. But let me help you with something. If you were to leave and then I sneak in your house and move your furniture, it's going to be some trouble. I sneak in your house and move your furniture while you gone. And then you come home thinking that it's like it was when you left. You're going to find out you can't see in the dark. You're going to find out real quick you can't see in the dark. You was functioning by memory. See, and that's what's been messing some of you up. You've been functioning by memory, and you've been mistaking memory as sight. Let me help you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. But this is what I need for you to understand. You've been looking at a situation based on the memory that you had about the similar situation. And right now, looking at it based upon the similar situation by memory is keeping you from being able to function by vision. Woo! You functioning by memory of what you're looking at instead of functioning by vision of what you're looking at. It's keeping you from building forward with the opportunity that you got right now. Woo-wee! I told y'all I'm trying to act right, but in the midst of chaos is when I flourish the most. I flourish the most because I understand I'm going to go by vision based upon every bit of chaos that gets thrown at me. So no matter what it looks like, no matter what appears to be a struggle, no matter what it looks like to be turmoil, when I look at it, I'm going to go by vision. I'm about to show you what vision is and different things, and we're going to cover some more of this Saturday, but I need to drive this part home because you've been looking at your situations by memory when it gets dark. I need for you to shift and start looking at your situations by vision. Woo! See, when the money gets funny, don't look at it by memory. Look at it by vision. When the relationship gets funny, don't look at it by memory. Look at it by vision. When the health starts acting up, don't look at it by memory. Look at it by vision. You've got to look at it by vision. That's the only way you're going to be able to build in the dark. Here's what I want you to Here's what I want you to get. Vision and sight are not the same thing. That's vital. Vision and sight are not the same thing. I want to help you understand this, because that's where 2 Corinthians 5 and 7, where it says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." So to understand the fullness of what he's saying in that moment, I gave you last week. Watch this. I gave you last week where I wanted you to understand the simple definition of the word faith. Agreement. Agreement. So watch this. If I walk by agreement, I don't let darkness bother me because it's not based upon my sight. I don't let darkness bother me because I'm walking by agreement with God and not by the sight of my circumstances because it's dark. See, what I need for you to get out of this is that when I begin to function based upon what I agree with God about, when I begin to function based upon what I agree with God about, even when it gets dark, my agreement is going to override anything that I might feel based upon what I can't see because of the darkness. See, watch this. Vision happens before you're able to see clearly. Vision happens before you're able to see clearly. I want to show it to you. I want you to go to Mark chapter 8, verses 22 through 26. Mark chapter 8, verses 22 through 26. Because as you see this, we about to go into high gear here. I can't promise you I'm going to act right the rest of this message. Why? Because this right here is going to be life-changing when you get it. When you get this right here, the game is over. It's game over. Because once you get this, there won't be any circumstance that can be presented to you that you won't automatically shift to vision mode instead of memory mode. And even if you go to memory mode, you're going to go to memory mode so that you can activate vision mode. Watch this. Mark chapter 8. Mark chapter 8 says this. Mark chapter 8, verse 22 through 26. If I'm making sense to you, shoot me a thumbs up, shoot me something so that I know that this ain't, because I can feel myself getting riled up about this. Because literally, this is the time for me to teach this on a large scale. I've lived by it for many years. That's why, for those of you that have had probably 2, 3, 4, 5 years with walking with me and seen me deal with some adverse circumstances, and it looks like, man, this joker ain't got no feelings. He ain't got, is he even aware of what's going on? Is he even realistically looking at his circumstances? Is he even realistically looking at what's up against him? I'm looking straight at it. Looking directly at it. But I have committed to not let a thing move me except the vision that I'm set on to go after what I've agreed with God about. See what I need for you to understand about this before I read this. When I agree with God, I don't always know all of the details. What I do know is that he will accomplish what he promised for me as long as I agree with him. I know that. I'm sure about that. He's done it too many times. Doing it right now. Gonna keep doing it. But my job is to stay in agreement with him. When I stay in agreement with him, darkness can't shake me. Darkness won't move me. It can't. Because my agreement is working on my behalf so that I function by vision instead of circumstance, instead of memory, instead of any opposition. So watch this. In Mark chapter 8, verses 22 through 26, says this. Mark chapter 8, verse 22 through 26 says this. It says, and he cometh to Bethsaida, and watch this, and they bring a blind man unto him, and besought him to touch him. So I want you to watch what's happened. And he took the blind man. So watch this. They brought him, and then he took him. I ain't gonna mess with that right now, but I just need for you to see that. They brought him, wanted him to touch him. Watch this. And then he takes him. And I'm pretty sure the reason that he takes him is because they already had an expectation of how they wanted the healing to happen. Because look at what it says. In verse 22, he cometh to Bethsaida, they bring a blind man unto him, and besought him to touch him. We just need you to touch him. Well, what if he wanted to heal him without touching him? Watch verse 23. And he took the blind man by the hand and led him, watch this, out of the town. He leads him out of the town. He's like, okay, y'all just stay right here. Me and him finna go out of town.